What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching Strength Addicts TV, StrengthAddicts.com, joined by yet another great guest. I can't speak enough about her. I've got Barbie Delesantro here tonight. Welcome, Barbie. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome. And we did a pretty cool impromptu, off-the-cuff IG Live, kind of hit the ground running. And there's so much to talk about. You know, the IG Lives are very brief, to kind of get a little bit of a teaser for what we do here on Zoom, which is a little bit more relaxed, and we can touch upon a lot of different things. The first thing that I really want to ask Barbie about, a lot of competitors, they might do like one or two shows, and they're like, where's my pro card? What's taking so long? And, Barbie's competed quite a bit, actually. For 5 years, you've competed in different federations and really cut your teeth and really experienced the whole competitive side. And there's people that dread contest prep. They dread getting on stage. She is not one of these people. I think you actually love competing, which makes you extremely dangerous on the stage. But take us back to, I guess, your friend Mia there and, finding the inspiration to compete and how that all transpired.
Yeah, well, I was going through a rough summer. It was summer of 2015. And my girlfriend, that I would train with in the gym, she said, let's do a show. Let's do a bodybuilding show. I was like, what? Like, I didn't know that much about it. But then I researched. And I said, okay, we could do bikini. So we both sign up. She drops out like a month before, and I was all in. I was, doing my own research. I didn't have a coach or anything. But the show day comes, and I threw myself into it. It was a great show, but I didn't place because I was brand new. I mean, I looked okay, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But it was a great learning experience.
And that's, a lot of times, I've never competed, but I would like to one day. But, competing for the first time is difficult enough as it is with a coach. But to just, go into it alone, and not to mention the fact that, you had initially gone with your friend and she dropped out, which, again, there's people that in the gym build amazing physiques, but there's something about taking that step to competing, because now it's not you building a great physique and getting sort of like, accolades from other gym goers, but you're putting yourself on a stage and you're being, scrutinized by a panel of judges where that's all they ever do.
Yeah.
It's very intimidating. So kudos to you for staying the course and actually getting on stage. That's one big victory right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
I'm sure she'll join me one day.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question, because that was a long time ago in terms of your competitive record, and you started out, from what I understand, with natural federations, which a lot of people don't understand. Like, those are like rigid. I mean, they test, double test, and it's quite tough. And you did really well. You actually went as far as getting a pro card in one of the natural federations. So that's a really big deal. But how many shows from that first show did you do in those federations?
I think I lost count. I did a lot. I mean, I would say 2-3 a year. So yeah, I've probably done about, if I did, like 6 altogether. And somewhere early on, I got my pro card. But after I had received the pro card, I started doing worse and worse. My placings were dropping because as I was improving, like I was gaining more muscle, leaning out more, I was getting marked down. And in my feedback, they would say that I should go to figure, or I should soften my look a little bit. So I didn't really understand that. It kind of played like mind games with me, because to me, bodybuilding is about, building muscle and getting like super ripped. And I thought, well, figure is great. Like I want to be figure. I love figure. But I didn't think I was even at that level yet. So I started doing a little research, stepping back a little bit, and I realized the NPC was looking for a different look. And honestly, I'm not going to say any names, but there was a judge that wrote me and contacted me separately and said, look, I see all your hard work. I see you improving, but it's not what we're looking for. but I honestly think you should go with the NPC because you are what they like. And I was like, really like surprised that they reached out to me, and I was thankful. And so I did. And I would never change that. I mean, I think the NPC has been great. I mean, it is where I belong. Absolutely. Because
No,
to me, that's bodybuilding.
no, absolutely. And you found a home, and you know, without speaking for that judge, which I think he would appreciate, or she would appreciate, that you kept your name
Mm-hmm.
off the interview, because really what it is, you know, they were telling you, they were saying like, Barbie, you know, you're so good that you're too good, you know, for this federation. You got to go
Right.
compete with the best. And that's kind of like what I gather from that. And so,
Yeah.
you know, and again, I mean, the NPC is where the best compete. It's not lip service. It's not PR. It's just is what it is. And it's interesting that you know, that your placings were actually worsening over time as you got better, because they probably wanted a really soft look for bikini, and the look that you brought, which is perfect look for bikini, they wanted to bump you up to figure. I mean, that just, again, I don't want to, you know, necessarily, like, you know, like throw shade at the natural federations, but again, I just think that you were so good that they were basically telling you, you know, you've probably gone as far as you're going to go here, you know, go with the best. And you
Right.
did, and you found a home there. And with the NPC, you competed for, you know, it sounds like quite a few shows, at least for the universe,
Yeah.
without a coach, right?
Yeah, I didn't have a coach at all until after Universe. So I went into Universe completely, never had been to a national level show. I just knew I qualified. So I said, you know, I wanted to go just throw myself into it. And Universe is a great show. So I definitely learned, the biggest thing I took from that show was that you do need to be a part of something. You need to be a part of a team. You have to have a coach. Like, I needed guidance if I wanted to keep doing this. And so I actually contacted PJ Braun, and because I was already part of the Legion, or I was just becoming part of the Legion at the time, and I already used all their products, and I knew PJ had coached in the past, but I didn't know how many people he was coaching. And right away he said, you know, thank you, but I'm so busy. I can't take it on anymore. I'm just too busy as it is. And I respect that. So then I did a little bit more research, and I went with someone else. And that it wasn't a bad experience, but I just thought they have a big team. They have a lot of athletes. So, you know, we had scheduled times that we could text them or email them and get our meal plan for the week, do our check-in. And I just didn't feel like it was very personal. But I thought, okay, I guess this is how it's supposed to be, because I really didn't know what it was like. And then after PJ and I started to get to know each other a little bit through Blackstone, you know, he was watching my progress. He would watch me compete, and he contacted me one day and he said, look, I want to talk to you. I really don't have time, but I think that you have a lot of potential, and I want to take you on as a client. And I almost fell over. You know, I was so thankful that he reached out to me and that he believed in me, you know, because I'm not talking bad about my other coach, but he really didn't give me that one-on-one attention. And here, PJ wasn't even my coach, and he was watching me and he saw potential in me. So he changed everything around, and I completely transformed after that. I mean, he's really changed. Like, after this interview, I'll send you my before when PJ started working with me to now. I mean, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, and he's a really, really good coach. He's highly sought after. Before Blackstone Labs, you know, that's what he was. I mean, he was a very, very sought after coach. He was a top national level bodybuilder. Then he went to work with Species, and then ultimately, you know, Iron Mech Labs, and then, you know, Blackstone Labs. My gosh, and Blackstone Labs, he's one of the fastest growing companies in the whole fitness in any industry. So, you know,
Right.
yeah, really. And the thing, Barbie, too, is that, you know, I've been with him in Miami, New York, you know, just a lot of different places, and people always walk up to him, you know, and they want to work with him. Some people think it's a money thing, and they might throw some pretty grandiose numbers at him. It's not about that. It's just he really doesn't have the time. And the folks that he does train, like yourself, like Christopher Luke, like Billy Gagliardo. I mean, like Kiara, or Kiara Ganem. These are people that he really sees something in. And I think the fact that initially he told you that he couldn't, that he didn't have the time. A lot of people probably, they would have taken that and just given up, or maybe just, promoted the brand, but not really. But you just kept going, and he saw something in you, and then he reached out to you. So, I think that that's very, very powerful. And I mean, clearly, you are an exceptional athlete, because even when you came to the NPC from these national federations, you must have done something right to qualify for Universe. So something, and you work hard, and but I think that the real champions realize that they may need a coach, that they may need some assistance, they may need a second set of eyes, and I think that is a very champion move also, a very pro move also. Even though you're not a pro yet, with the Pro League, you will be soon. That's my belief. Now, you did the North Americans, but before we talk about, because I don't want this to just be about the shows, there's so much more to you that is so, I think, impressive. You're a mom of 3 boys, which sounds like, it sounds like it's awesome, but it sounds like a lot of work, right?
Oh, it's a lot of work. And 2 of them are twins. I have multiples. So I have a 13, almost 14-year-old teenager. And then I have, my twins are 8. So
Gotcha.
They're active.
Yeah, I think they're in football tonight, right? So that's part of what you're part of what you're doing today. You got a
That's
great
why I'm in the
fiance.
car.
Definitely. You got a great fiance, which you told me is like pretty jacked and looks awesome.
Yeah.
And the funny story about that you told me is, like, when you guys are at shows, the people think that you guys are there for him.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't matter if I have tan on. They think that he's the one competing. He's walking around eating whatever he wants. When we were in North Americans, he had a beer in his hand, and they still thought he was the athlete.
That's crazy. And he's someone like your friend Mia that you would like to eventually see get on stage, right?
She has great potential. Yeah, she would be great.
And you want your fiance to jump on stage too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm like, we go to these shows. I'm like, see, Joe, like, you could totally do this. He's not even like dieting hard. I mean, he eats healthy all the time, but if he wants a beer, if he wants, whatever pizza, he'll have it,
That's awesome.
So I think if he was disciplined, he would do amazing.
Definitely. And so you also have a couple of dogs, just cute. You got a couple of dogs, you got 3 boys, you got a fiance, but it doesn't end there. You also own your own business.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. You have a barbershop in a gym.
Yeah. So my friends, they own Cape Fitness here in Cape May, New Jersey. It's a great gym, and I have my barbershop located right inside. It started out as a joke, like, because I already do all of this, like, area is my clientele. And all my guys work out there. So they would all say, man, like, you should just move yourself right into the gym. So one day we said, all right, let's try it. And it's been great because they have one stop. They just go up and work out, get their hair cut. And it's, so much more convenient.
That's awesome.
It's great.
That is so cool. So, you did the North Americans, and I do want to talk a little bit about that, but everybody's got, every competitor's got, something that's difficult for them. A lot of folks, it's the meals. Some people don't like the diet. Some people don't like the training. Now, they love to train in the off season, but they don't like to train as their calories are being manipulated, as, they can have like less fat or less carbs. They don't like the caloric manipulation and then have to train at the same intensity. Neither of those things seem to be an issue for you, but you did say that your posing is sort of where, you have a little bit of an issue. And you said you work with Jen Strobo, who PJ, adores her. And it sounds like you adore her as well. So what's, the process of posing been like now that you have her in your corner?
Well, thank goodness I have her in my corner, because I really did need work. And I'm still a work in process, but I've come really far with her. She spent hours with me on FaceTime calls. She's totally helped me a lot. She's great. She's just a good person all around. She's got a great heart. She'll stop what she's doing to help you.
Absolutely. And I tell you, posing wins shows. It is so critical. And there's something about I often say, people like do a double take when I say this, but I believe that bikini and men's physique have got to be the two toughest divisions in the sense that, you have the least amount of stage time. Your poses are scrutinized not so much to the second, but almost to the millisecond, if that makes sense. Uh,
Right.
the walk to the back of the stage and the walk to the front of the stage is not just a walk. Like the judges are literally tearing each stride down. They're looking at everything they possibly can. That and conjunction with the poses will determine, essentially, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. And so the posing could easily make such a big difference. You could have, a first place physique, but if you can't present it, you'd be lucky to get third place. I mean, that's how crazy the posing is. So the fact that she does give you that one-on-one attention, like PJ does with the coaching, is very important. And again, I don't think anybody's going to think that you were throwing shade at the previous coach, but there are competitors that need that individualized attention. And it's not like you're getting ready for the Mr. or Miss Maple Street. I mean, we're talking about the Universe, the North Americans, the Masters Nationals. We're talking about monstrously big shows, and you're at a level where you're on the verge of getting a pro card. So, it's important, and I think the fact that you have her in your corner is huge. Now, you did the North Americans, and the North Americans, kudos to Gary and his whole team. They made it happen. They had to move host hotels. They had to, move to a tent. There was, towards the end, there was no spectators. That's why PJ didn't go. No coaches. It was rough. It was rough, but it happened, and it was a good show, as you said on the Instagram Live. The stage was there, the lights were there, that was all there, but it was a tough show, right? So I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Just before can you see me? Because it's starting to get dark. Should I turn on my light?
Yeah, turn on the light. Let's see what that looks like.
Exactly.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
That.
I think they're both good. You could do the light if you want. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. It's like a different light.
Dark.
I'm seeing you in a different light. Yeah, this is great. I like this a lot, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Because the sun's going down here, so it's looking a little dark. But yeah, I'm sorry. So you're asking about North Americans.
So North Americans. I mean, because the thing is, on the Instagram Live, you had said that obviously it was a great show, but that there were times, I think, that I don't want to put words in your mouth. What was the show like for you? Like the whole show?
Okay. So the show was great. It was great the year before, but it was much different this year only because of all the restrictions. And thank goodness Gary went out of his way to make it happen. Honestly, I would have competed anywhere. I didn't even care. And I think everyone there had that vibe about them. Everyone was just thankful to be there. So it was good. Everyone was happy. No one was complaining about silly things. My tan was melting off because it was humid in the tent. And honestly, the stage, when you were on stage, it felt like you were inside. They did a really good job. The lighting was great. But behind the tent where we would pump up, it was a little hot, it was just humid. So my tan was just dripping off. And I remember walking up the steps to step on stage, and, they were rolling me, trying to smooth out the tan. And I was like, oh man, this is going to look horrible up there. And in my pictures, if you look good, you can see it, but they did a really good job with hiding a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you that, Gary is a fighter, won't quit. I mean, he's him, Steve Weinberger. I mean, these promoters, these guys, they will do whatever it takes to make it happen and ensure world-class production. Like you said, the stage was perfect and the lights were perfect. But, in the end, you are still in a tent. It is still summer, and no amount of fans or anything is going to stop the humidity. So I think the fact that you got on stage is huge. I think that's a big, big win. I mean, no other competitor can say that they went through that. 2020 has been a year from hell. Literally from hell. So I think it's huge. I talked about Billy Gagliardo on the Instagram Live with you, to get ready for a show and see that show postponed and still see it through and do it for that new date is a huge win. A lot of competitors couldn't do that. And, a lot of competitors didn't. They were like, see you in 2021. Now, still hundreds and hundreds of amazing athletes such as yourself went to Pittsburgh and got on that stage. So I think that is huge. Now, you're not done, it seems, though, right? Like you still have gas in the tank. You still are going to do another show in 2020, right?
Yeah, I'm still going. I'm already signed up to do Masters Nationals, and that's going to be in Orlando. Now, it was originally Pittsburgh, but they moved it to Orlando. So I'm looking forward to that. That's in 4 weeks today. So it's a month away. And then after that, maybe universe, it depends. I don't want to say, because PJ always tells me like one show at a time, because when I was training for North Americans, I was starting to ask about what we were doing next. And he said, just focus on, what's in front of you. So the next one is in 4 weeks, and that's what we're doing. But I'll go as long as he lets me go. I'm sure at some point he's going to tell me to stop, but I'm totally leaving that up to him.
And I think it's great too, Barbie, because like you saying the word "let's." I mean, you're an adult, you're your own person, you do whatever you want. But I think it speaks volumes about you as a competitor and as a client that you listen so much to your coach that his opinion will determine whether or not you compete or not. And again, a great coach always has his or her client's best interests at heart. And I think that the trust that you have for PJ is warranted, and he will never do you wrong. So I think
Right.
it's great that you defer so much to him, because again, he knows the path, and he knows the path to seeing you do your best. And talking about the universe only briefly for the universe that you competed in on your own, I did want to bring up your dad, because you said that for that show, your dad brought your kids, and again, the support network. Talk to us about the support network that you have from your fiance, from your dad, from PJ, from Jen. It sounds like you have a lot of people that are behind you, and that is really important to a competitor when they get on stage. I firmly believe that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have so many supporters. I'm so lucky and blessed. Honestly, I know everyone says this, but even if I did horrible in the show, I'm so thankful that I'm even able to do it. My parents are great. Like I said, I have 3 crazy, very busy, into every sport, club, they have a lot to do, and my parents will step right in and take them where they need to stay. I have 2 dogs, pit bulls, I have a lot going on at my house, and they step right in. My clients are very, they'll schedule all their appointments right until I have to leave. And then right when I get back, they understand, they're excited to hear about my show. I mean, I could go on and on. My fiance is super supportive. Like, he never gets tired. Only one time last summer, because I was doing show after show, he was like, man, I kind of miss going out and day drinking. And I'm like, well, you can go, I'll come. I just can't, I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink at all last summer, so that's the only time he kind of complained a little bit, but then he knew this means a lot to me. So,
And that's so huge. To have that support is so huge. And again, like I told you, I know far too many competitors. It's so sad, and not to be sexist, but a lot of times it is the ladies who, have to compete under aliases, and you're like, oh, it's because of your job, right? And you're like, no, actually, I told my husband I was doing something. It's like, it's a secret. It's like, not only do they not have the support, but they have to pretend like they're somewhere else just to do what they feel. So I think it's so important, to have that support that you do, and that's great. And I got to ask you about your dogs, though, because you said you have pit bulls. And, a lot of people, I don't know if discriminate's the right word, but they have it out for pit bulls. They're like, those dogs are so aggressive. And I personally think that, if you could train a poodle to be, aggressive. It's all in how, how you treat the animal. If you show love, it's going to be a loving dog. I know so many pit bulls that are just absolutely adorable and would never. But what's the deal with pit bulls? I got to ask you, since you mentioned that you have 2 pit bulls.
Yeah. And honestly, I've always had dogs. I never had pit bulls. My fiance always had pit bulls, but I was never afraid of them. I mean, they're muscular, but they're no different than any other dog. Like, you go to have the smallest, littlest, frail dog, and they could be way more vicious than my dogs are. So not vicious. They are great around kids. My kids jump all over them. One's a pit bull, one's an American bully. A lot of people think she's a pip, she's an American bully. she's smaller. She's the boss. He's the pit bull, and he's a rescue from a kill shelter. He was 2, and I took a chance on him because I walked into that place, and like I just felt you could tell he was so uncomfortable being there. He was like, but he was good. Like I called him over. Like all the dogs are good. I don't know if you've ever been in a shelter, anything like that, but it's sad. You know, the dogs are all barking, going crazy, and he was just kind of like, you could tell he was just sad. He was uncomfortable. And now knowing him, he doesn't like all that chaos, and I'm sure he was just, and he's like a big baby, like he wants your attention. So yeah, it worked out though, because we saved him. He's great. He's great with my other dog. So our house is busy, but
Yeah. And my eye didn't itch. I don't want to cry, but yeah, but that,
Aw.
yeah, I have been to shelters. Bruno, who's my Facebook avatar, he's been since he passed away. I rescued him from a shelter, but it was a no kill shelter though. But the kill shelters, that's really sad, and I'm glad that you did that, you know. And I always tell people to try to adopt instead of, you know, because there's like puppy mills and places like that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, well, I guess it depends on which, you know, like puppy mill, I shouldn't say that, but like pet stores, that kind of thing. It depends.
Right.
Like, you know, some are good, some are bad. But like if you can adopt, that's really the way to go if you can. And I think it's great that you know, you gave your dog a home like that. And you know, PJ and Marissa, they're huge animal lovers. I'm sure you've seen with the kittens and all that.
Yeah.
And
Yes, they are.
and the iguanas too with the raspberries.
Oh yeah.
All the raspberries. The only thing is a snake, so I couldn't feed mice or rats to a snake. But you know, they got to eat. You know, they can't starve. So, but I mean, we're all huge animal lovers, and I think that's awesome. And I think ultimately too, the fact that you've been able to, again, I can't like let go of the whole thing with how your time management. Like, just if you can, just for a second, talk a little bit on time management, how you're able to like run a business, run a family, be a fiance, have pets, just do all this. And again, you're not competing at like, again, nothing against, you know, local shows, but you're not exactly competing on like little rinky-dink shows. And we're talking about North Americans, Masters Nationals, Universe. I mean, shows that, I mean, are bigger than pro shows, really. I mean, you know, the Masters Nationals, that's the biggest show in the NPC, and you're going to be there in 4 weeks. But how do you manage your time? Because I'm sure you get the same amount of time as everybody else does.
I never stop moving. Like this is like a vacation to me, just talking to you. Like I literally wake up in the morning, it's go until I shut my eyes at night. And I probably should sleep more, but it's hard. I have a lot to do. But yeah, I don't stop moving. I'm constantly driving to practice, driving to this camp, and I take my friends' kids, and you know, and I'm working, and in between all this, and it's crazy. Time management, I just have to stay on schedule. That's it.
I know that I'm the same way. I don't sleep hardly enough, and I try to limit. Now, I was going to ask you your favorite Blackstone Labs product. I do take quite a bit of the Dust V2, which is great, but it is a pre-workout, and I kind of take it like I take it like all the time, which I probably should. Yeah, and this is the one I take at night, the Trojan Horse. It's not really for sleeping, but like if I want something that's like really sweet, like really late at night, because I do the intermittent fasting like PJ, I have the sweet tea or the black currant, and then at least I can have that and still stay, you know, like I can still get sleepy. But what's your favorite Blackstone Labs product?
Well, that's because you mentioned it. I do take Trojan Horse. I do sweet tea, and I do that at night before I go to bed because it's a non-stim, and you know, it'll keep things going because I want to keep burning while I'm sleeping too. And use Dust. I like Dust X better because I like to kick it up a notch. Like I'll take that and I'll mix it with the Hype Reloaded. Do you take Hype Reloaded?
I haven't tried it, but they have the 2 new flavors. They've got the candy apple and the orange. I'm probably leaning more towards the orange.
You gotta try it. That's one of my favorites too. It gives you a good pump, you know, when you're working out. Like it really, I mix the 2 together and it's perfect. PJ told me I'm crazy for that, but you know, I like to live on the edge a little with the stims. He doesn't like the stims as much, but it doesn't bother me. I like Arson. Arson is no joke too. Have you ever tried arson? It's a
No.
fat burner, but it is a big stim product, so your energy is going. Sometimes it's too much for people, but if you like that extreme, I like that. I could go on and on. I take so many. Glycolog is
Oh, I love Glycolog.
Yes, I have that with every carb meal. I
You know,
do.
and that's so key that you said that, because a lot of people only take it on their highest carb meal, and that's not. You're supposed to take it for every carb meal. That's what
Everyone.
people, I think Peaches actually had to like make that clarification to people.
Yeah. Right.
But it's amazing. But the only thing is though, you have to, at least with me, it has to be at least 50, 60 grams of carbs, because I've actually taken it for meals that are not that high in carbs, and I actually feel kind of weird. I mean, it's not, yeah. So there has to be enough, at least I think there has to be enough carbs. Otherwise you can get like a little lightheaded, like can kind of mess with you a little bit. And then, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the Glycolog and the Recomp at the same time after a meal, which I like. The Recomp's another one that's a really good one. Yes. And then the only other one I would mention, I don't mention it a lot because it'll get you like majorly effed up, is the Euphoria. I only take that every once in a while, and I only take 3. You could take as many as 6, but I literally take 3, and I'm like, it really, it does. It's definitely a legal high. There's no question about it.
I can't believe that it is legal. I have to say so in my barbershop, I sell a lot of the products. I keep it stocked because I was ordering stuff for myself, and my clients would say, oh, when you put an order in, can you order this for me? And I'll just get it when I get my hair cut. And then I said, I talked to PJ. I'm like, PJ, can I just put my stuff in the shop? So I put shelves in, and it sells like crazy. People love it. And Euphoria, I can't even keep it on the shelf. People love it.
Yeah, that's got to be like the best advertising, the best marketing. I can't believe this is illegal. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this. I mean, you've had to like turn the light on in your car. Started this out when it was light out, and now it's dark. Just I guess finally, like, just wrapping up, and I'd like to do another one of these in the future because I really like talking to you. I can't figure out your accent though. At first I thought it was Jersey, but it's not Jersey. It's like its own. And then sometimes you sound a little bit like Jose Raymond's wife, but that's a Boston accent. So I can't quite figure out where your accent is from.
Yes, we have a different accent where Cape May is the very bottom of the state. So it kind of is like a little bit of a southern Jersey, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like sometimes when I'm away, in the Caribbean, or people will say, where are you from? You sound like you're from like down south. And I'm like, no, I'm from New Jersey. Right. They're like, New Jersey is like that. They think of Jersey Shore. I'm like, no, it's different where I'm from.
When you say the boys, like your kids, when you say that word boys, I can't figure out where that accent's from. Not to put you on the spot, but that's the one word where it's like, where is that from? And it's cool to have that. I think, I've been told I have an accent, but I don't know from where, because I was raised in South Florida, and I went to law school in Michigan. I live in Kentucky. I hope I don't. There's nothing wrong with Kentucky, but Kentucky's like a real country twang, and I don't think I have that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I do. But anyways, I really can't thank you enough. And I think, I don't know if you follow Flex Diesel, he's ripping it up in the 212. He's doing so well. But I see like a lot of him and you and him, in the sense that you started out in Legion, and a lot of people don't understand, but that's like you're starting out like at the base, and everybody has, these resources, and Blackstone Labs will back you up. It's kind of like the pro card. It's what you do with it. You know what I mean? You get the pro card, if you just get the pro card, then what? It's like nothing happens. It's what you do with it. You can just go places that others can't without the pro card, which I use as his phone. But like, the same thing with the Legion. And look what Bo did. Like, Bo's now sponsored. His shows are covered. He's winning shows. He's getting exposure. You got the coach who initially you couldn't get because he didn't have the time. And now you're on the verge of getting a pro card, and you're competing at all these big national shows, and you've got this relationship that a lot of people wish they had and could maybe have to put the work in. So I can't speak enough about the Legion. It's a great, great program. And hopefully more people join it. So I really, really want to thank you. But before we end, I'd like to ask you who you'd like to thank to close out the interview.
Well, my boys, I would love to thank them for it. It's funny because this is all they know. They know that I am always studying. I'm watching YouTube videos. They're always saying, "Mommy, are you going to do your posing?" Or they'll tell me, like, I'm like, "You guys could be little judges." Like, they're used to coming to the gym with me. So absolutely, I want to thank them first because they are very patient through all this. My parents for allowing me to watching the boys so I could go to all these different states and national shows. My fiance for supporting me, through every prep, because I always want to be on prep. That's a lot to deal with. I could go on. PJ he gave me the most amazing, and you brought up Bo. Like, I remember hearing, like, when PJ called him and said that he wanted to take him on, his response was, no one's ever given me that chance. And I could relate to that. And when he said that, I said, I can totally, that's how I feel. Like, PJ just will come in and just select who, like, I feel like he was very selective, and he really picks people that, like, it means so much. I tell him all the time, I'm like, it means so much to me that you've given me this chance. So I want to thank him for that. I could go. Jennifer, she spends hours with me on my posing, so I want to thank her for that. I could go on and on. Blackstone altogether, his PJ's assistant, she is on top of things. I don't know if you've met her yet, but she knows her job. She is on top of it. She's great. I could go on and on. Everyone's just, thank you for having me tonight and letting me do this interview. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. You've made me almost cry a few times. Like, that's great.
Oh.
And because I love PJ so much too. And,
yeah,
he's such an amazing person, and it's a great company. It's a great team. And you're definitely, a huge part of that. And also I also want to take just a quick moment just to give a shout out. I don't know if you heard about Big Frank the Tank lost his mom. So I want to go ahead and send him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
sorry.
He's part of the Legion also, and he posts nonstop, and he's always very supportive.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to watch this interview. So
Yes,
I really, it really is family. Alexis made to macro also. Everybody here is like a huge family, and you're a huge part of it. And I cannot wait until you go pro. I can't even begin. You're a nut, and in the best possible way. Because you're talking about, you just did North Americans, you're talking about doing, Masters Nationals, and you're hoping PJ let you do Universe. I don't think you're going to have to, though. I hope you get your pro card in Orlando. And again, like something that we talked about off camera also, again, I this interview never ends, but I don't want it to end. If you get your pro card, though, you had said that, tell us real quick, what would you do if you get your pro card? What would be the next chapter? And then we'll close it out. I promise.
I would want to jump right into a show, but I would let PJ decide if he felt. I honestly don't think I'd be ready. I think I need some time to build. The pro level is, top notch. So I want to compete and have a good shot. So I think he would probably say, let's do some things. But if he says, nope, you're ready, let's go for it, I'm all in.
And then again, guys, that is so huge too. And there's a pro ways of thinking, even though you're not a pro yet. And that is a pro way of thinking. To just have that trust in your coach and to defer to your coach is huge. To be able to sit down and have a reasonable conversation, because a lot of the people that look at their coach as just someone they give a paycheck to are short-sighted, and maybe they're with the wrong coach, and you could be with the wrong coach. If you're with the right coach, then his or her opinion is going to count so much that you may in fact defer to it, especially because you only get one pro debut. So I think that your mindset's perfect, and I think that the Masters Nationals will be a lot less chaotic than the North Americans were. And again, that's nothing against Gary, because Gary has worked his butt off. But again, a lot of these governments, state governments, federal governments, county governments, have done the shows no favors. Constantly changing the criteria, constantly, messing with them. And, the good promoters can roll with the punches, but, it's trying on the competitors, the promoters, the vendors. PJ had his hotel rooms, his plane tickets, everything ready to go. And then the last minute, he can't go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things, you know, because that's something that really, you know, he really had to struggle with because he wanted to be there for the full
Right.
week with you guys. That was very, very important to him. But I mean,
Yeah.
like, if there's no vendors, no audience allowed, he basically would have been in the hotel room, you know, watching the same, you know, live that he could have been in Boca, you know. So that was
Right.
really hard on him, you know. But
Yeah.
anyways, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. What are your social media links? Instagram, websites, anything?
Yeah, so my social media for Instagram is _Willabeast _. That's my open fitness account. I have a few. So then I have Barbie1526 is my personal account. I post a lot of my boys and different things on there. And then I also have my business account is Kate May Barber. And
Excellent.
that's open. That's just for my haircuts, and it shows that girls can do straight razor cuts. Oh, I do hot shaves, everything too. So
Because there's two stereotypes. One you're guilty of and one I'm guilty of. The one I'm guilty of, I hate to say, is so sexist. When I hear the word barber, I think of, like, you know, some old guy, you know, with the little
yeah.
rainbow thing, you know. And you're every bit as much a barber as that guy is. But then the stereotype you're guilty of is you made sure for me not to call you Barbara and to call you Barbie instead, because you think that
Yes.
Barbara
Is for 80-year-olds. Yes. Yep.
which I'm sure, you know, there's like probably a lot of lively, you know, youthful Barbaras out there, yeah, it's like when I think of the name Gertrude, I kind of think of, like, you know, a really, like, old lady, like, knitting or something.
Probably has a sister Barbara.
Right, it's Sister Barbara. Yeah, yeah, and they play shuffleboard and
Yes.
mahjong and all that. Yeah, so good stuff. So I really want to thank you very, very much
Yes.
for the Blackstone Lab Legion's own Barbie Delesantro.
Yes.
This is Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. Thank you again, Barbie. Appreciate it.